Hey everyone, it's Zach and Tahlia. We're back for episode 3.
Yes.
Yeah. Today is a really cool topic. We had to do some extra research because we wanted to make sure we got our sort of perspective facts right. And we have so much that we want to share. But before we do that, we just want to acknowledge the land that we live and work on as Ghana country and pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. So,
Beautiful. Shall we jump straight in?
I think so.
Lovely. So today's episode is all about Archangels, and as part of Archangels we've also got Ascended Masters as well. So there's a lot of information to cover in this topic. Really briefly, we're actually hoping to bust at least a few myths on a couple of Archangels. Yeah. We've done a lot of research and we're going to be using our own spiritual practices as well and our experience to help determine the information that comes through. But before we begin any further, we did just want to mention that we might be looking at some notes today. We might be just referring back to our documentation. Be patient with us, please. We just want to get the information right based on our own experience and based on our research. Some of these Ascended Masters and Archangels you may have already been familiar with if you have a religious background or, have an organized, from an organized religion. We may touch on some of these topics, and our episode today will be about our personal experiences with these beings and our own research, like I said before. Just really want to also touch on the fact that we also believe Archangels and Ascended Masters to have transcended the gender binary. This means that we believe, dependent on your perspective, each Archangel will appear in the way that you need them to appear, and to help your own perspective and learnings as well. All experience is valid, and we will do our best to explain from our own experience and perspective. Archangels.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Okay. Like Zach mentioned, we do have a lot of information to share. So we will be referring to notes as we go. The flow of this episode is going to cover pretty much everything spirit guide related, from the land to the Archangels, which are the highest level of sort of angel guidance we can receive. If I
go for
start us off.
Yes, let's talk about it.
So the first level of spirit connection or energy connection that we have to something like a spirit guide or something that we relate to is elemental spirits. So that is all land, water, anything nature related, everything from a pot plant to Mount Everest. So anything can have, those things are all alive, they all have energy, and we can obviously feel that energy when we're in those places or next to those things. So the way that we take care of the land, the way that we resonate with different elements. When I say elements, we're talking fire, water, air, and earth.
Yeah.
I mean, there are more. There's some modern ones electrical. Is it called electrical?
We're keeping it quite simple. We're really keeping our explanation of archangels, elemental spirits, spirit animals, all this kind of stuff as simple as we can, because we really want to make sure our intentions don't get lost in technicalities here. Yeah.
But for the purpose of this, those are the 4 main elements, and even in tarot reading and in energy work, they're the 4 things that we always refer to and what we sort of look to keep in balance. What else can we say about that? Oh, so you will get certain vibrations from places. For us, I think we both kind of are similar with how we feel about coastlines and the beach, and especially the water. So, that's our happy place. The vibrations we get from, for me, it's definitely water related. That's something that is really important to me and that I've really connected to since as long as I can remember. So is that the same for you?
Yeah, for sure. I am Capricorn roots here.
Yep.
So I love being by water, not necessarily in it. I think there's so much healing that can happen when you're walking along the coastline. And, you know, when people like resonate with that, it's almost like they become alive, right? From the coastline. And I think that goes to a point of saying, when we were preparing for this episode, when you mentioned that actually nature is alive. Like, our coastlines are alive. They're alive with spirit, they're alive with energy, and we absorb that, and that's how that becomes an elemental kind of spirit that we're drawn to.
Like a source of healing, a source of peace, a source of comfort, whatever it is to you. I'm sure we can all think of sort of something in nature, or like a pot plant in your house, like anything where you get like good energy from it, and you like to sit by it, or you like to look at it. That's that living element is acting as a spirit guide for you. As we've said a lot, that we mirror each other, which basically means our energies balance out in a really like gentle way. So I, on the other hand, am Cancer roots, so most of my chart is water, so I like to actually be like in the water. That's my happiest place. And in my meditations, like my preferred place where I go in my meditations is like the deep, darkest blue of the ocean, where most people would probably be like, that does not sound relaxing. I'm like, oh, I'm home. Okay. Anything else on nature? Obviously we live in Australia, and I don't think there's a better example of people having an energetic connection to the land than the Aboriginal and Indigenous islanders that are Australian and connected to Australian land. So that's something that I guess we just really appreciate, that spiritual element.
Definitely.
And I think we both aim to celebrate that as much as we can.
100%. And as one of the oldest living civilizations in the entire world, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, we can do a lot to learn, listen, understand their relationship with land, understand their dreaming, and really take their lessons from that, because we're in their country, and until you're able to sit and catch yourself and listen to a dreaming, or go up to like a natural community in a remote area, it's really difficult to understand the value that we have in this country and in the countries that we inhabit, of the Aboriginal people. So I think taking time to listen, to pause, to feel the energy around us, because we are living in many countries of the longest living culture in the world, really. And from that, we can actually start to become part of the land and start to help enrich the land that we're living on. But yeah, I think that's a huge important step of us moving forward, is really acknowledging and celebrating Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander and their beliefs, because that's how it can positively impact us as we come together moving forward as a society, I think.
Yeah, the culture, and most importantly, well, not most importantly, but, you know, it's very important that we're connecting that to the land, because that is the sort of fundamental of everything that is that culture. So
beautiful.
Yes. One other thing that I'll probably just throw in here is for those people that are very like eco-minded and focused on the environment itself, climate change, things like that. That can also really show that you are resonating with Earth, really, with the elements around you. So that's a spiritual connection in itself. Okay. Next is spirit animals. So again, this is quite a basic one. It's something that's thrown around all the time. There's so many card decks on it that I've come across. It's just everywhere. I don't know. It's in the movies. Seems to be quite a common one.
And some people make a flying comment, oh, like, so-and-so's my spirit animal. And it just means that real true affinity, doesn't it, to the animal, to the spirit of the energy of the animal. Otherwise, people can call their spirit animals totems. that they could symbolize. So, for instance, for me, for the first time I went to the Northern Territory, I saw a crocodile in real life, and I cannot get them out of my mind. Crocodiles, the energy, how powerful, how amazing and miraculous they are. The fact that they've been around since dinosaurs, they're here, they're dangerous. I can't help but just find them so fascinating. And yeah, I went to the Northern Territory and I saw one. I said I can't not leave without at least getting close to one. I just felt like I needed to be around crocodiles the entire time. So if you get an affinity with an animal, take a look at, I suppose, the symbolism behind the animal, that spirit animal energy that you kind of relate with and resonate with might actually kind of help you understand some past life learnings. It might actually help you understand present life learnings, the need to take power or to take charge. Trusting your instincts, very primal for a crocodile as well. So
so there's the traditional sort of attributes of the animal itself, and then there's also spiritual meanings, which are closely related, but they're different. So if you specifically wanted to go a bit deeper, if you know what your spirit animal is, or animal totem is, and you know sort of the attributes of the animal, but you want to know the spiritual connection, you can Google that. It's pretty easy to do your own research. I Google everything. The other thing is your spirit animal can change. So depending what situation or what is going on in your life, you'll get a different animal totem sort of working with you to help you through that. So I've had many. At the moment, I'm super obsessed with sharks.
Interesting. My first spirit animal was a shark.
Yeah.
Was great whites with sharks. Oh my gosh.
I just love them all.
Yeah, right. And then I changed to something that's more land and river based, and now you're into sharks.
I'm into sharks. I watch shark videos on YouTube all the time. Yeah. I've also had the frog, which actually I think I did a post on this on my Instagram about the spiritual representation of the frog, because it was so interesting once I looked it up, and it was just appearing. Suddenly it was everywhere. I saw it everywhere. So that's one way that your animal might come through to you. If you keep seeing the same thing, hearing it keeps, showing up, that's clearly communication to you and showing you a sign. So I've had many. They do change. But my whole life, I've always just loved elephants. So that was, I guess, my first totem, animal totem.
Beautiful. And I think when we connect to our land, elemental spirits, when we connect to spirit animals, the ones that resonate with us, these are kind of the entry pathways to spirituality overall, isn't it? It's starting to help our souls and our minds understand that there's more to the world than us, and there's more to the world than our existence.
So along the lines of spirit animals, pets are another very common basic one where animals will show themselves to you. So for most people this would be a dog or a cat, bird, fish, whatever. But it's more about how the animal finds you, and for households where you have 5-6 members of the house, and say you get a dog or a cat, that animal will usually connect to one person the most out of the whole family, and so they've chosen that person, or they have a sort of a purpose to guide them. So that kind of happened with my first dog, because she was a family dog. And then when she died, I was just beside myself for 2 months, and then I was I'm getting another dog because I just can't stand this misery. So I went to the RSPCA looking, I'd looked on the website, and found some Kelpie puppies that had just been sort of handed in. So I went to the RSPCA to look at adopting one of these puppies, and they were unavailable, but the sort of the volunteer there was let me show you some other animals, let's walk through. And then I saw Actually, I didn't see the dog. He had just been desexed. He was still at the back.
Wow.
And the guy was like, let me just get this other dog for you. I think he'll be a good fit for your situation. And so he brings this dog out and he's like, here, have a play with them. And I was just like, I'm taking this dog home. So sometimes it's kind of divinely orchestrated how they find us. And he is actually like really intuitive, my dog. And when you look in his eyes, they're just so deep. It's sometimes odd.
It's almost like looking into a human's eyes.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So pets is another big one and another common one. Cool. So that's animals. Do you want to pick
shall we
up
jump on
ancestors?
ancestors? Yeah. Cool. So with ancestors, this is kind of when things start to ramp up a little bit when it comes to spiritual guidance, right? So with ancestors, these are typically passed away loved ones. That are coming back to guide us in our life. Not always are they past loved ones from this lifetime. There could be ancestral roots back from hundreds and hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you might get a familiarity with someone that's with you or a guide and you don't know a name, but you know a feeling that seems familiar to you. That would be an ancestor, especially if they're helping guide you through relationships, difficult issues, especially if they're helping you understand aspects of problems that you didn't used to as well. Your ancestors are there to really help you rewrite the patterns of what's been happening in your bloodline, if you like, to end the cycle. So they're really, really great. They're really awesome for protection as well. And they really help to awaken your psychic and intuitive capabilities. Really, ancestors are the first level of awakening, if you like, after we've kind of explored the elements, spirit animals and our pets. Our ancestors are really the ones that kind of tend to wake us up to, oh, is there a ghost in my room? Like, it's a bit creepy in here, it's dark, when we're kids. Like, that's our ancestors actually giving us that insight and knowledge to say, hey, you're not alone, but it's not that scary. But of course, we all find it scary initially.
Yeah, I agree with that because it's very different to the guidance and the energy that comes with elemental and spirit animals. The ancestor one it's more specific. So they're literally communicating directly to you, and it's for the purpose of enlightenment and awakening. And it really is like, if the trigger hasn't already happened, well, usually the first you communicate with your ancestor or know that they're with you, the trigger would have kind of already happened, which they would have orchestrated, but you don't sort of know that until the next step, at least in my experience.
You kind of have to look backwards in a way to see how it's all fallen into
place. They
place.
actually sent you through all of that for a reason and then showed themselves, and then you end up having this sort of connection with them ongoing for the rest of your path once you've been aligned. That's kind of from our perspective how we see them, because we obviously in our line of work communicate with our clients' ancestors very often, as well as our own.
Yeah. And I find in a mediumship reading, it'll be my ancestors that kind of welcome my client's ancestors in, really.
Yeah.
And then that means that the connection can get stronger. And so they're really instrumental, actually, with communicating with people who have passed away in our same plane, if you like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. Don't underestimate the powers of your loved ones, guys.
Yep.
They are with you. They're very powerful. Some
of them can, be very powerful. So I don't know if we've mentioned this, but this is just very, very brief. So after a physical life death, we did kind of mention it in the dimensions in the last episode, but our souls go into a bit of a review. They judge their lifetime. They learn their lessons. Then they become like a spirit guide in the sixth dimension, and they obviously have a purpose or something to fulfill while they're in that form before an eventual reincarnation or whatever their next task is. So they do see whoever they're working for in guiding them, whoever their purpose is. They will see your whole soul path so your life path. So they know a lot. They know everything, far more than, you know, the greatest living psychic can foresee. They know it all. So yeah, they are very powerful, and they can make big shifts happen in the material plane with their energy. So yeah.
So if you want to connect to your loved ones, I think the best thing to do is to sit down, get yourself into a nice comfortable position, close your eyes, light a candle if you want.
Definitely light a candle.
Yeah, that really helps to invite them in, and it actually helps to open up your auric field as well, so that you can encompass them. And just talk about the memories that you remember. If it's someone that's passed away that you want to reconnect with, and talk about the help that you need, or your feelings. Be really honest with them. And you might find in the coming weeks or months that there's some huge shifts coming in your life. Just let it happen, because you know it's for your greater good, and it's orchestrated by your loved ones on the other side, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and ask for a sign as well.
Yes.
And you can be specific with that. You can be like, show me a blue star, you know, by the end of the day, if something, whatever your question is. So you can get kind of creative, but you want to connect to them and know who you're talking to, then you can ask for more guidance once the connection is solidified, I suppose.
Yeah,
I mean, it's always there, but it's an exchange. So some people can go their whole lifetime with ancestors guiding them and then not knowing it at all. Or, you know, you become aware of it, but some people are scared of it, so they ignore it. Or you're aware of it and you're actively in energetic exchange with that guide. So there's ongoing communication.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm sure there's blurs of the three in between, but that's a general, you know, most people will be somewhere in one of those levels.
Lovely. So we've gone through elementals, spirit animals, and ancestors now. So backing up against our ancestors topic, we're going to be talking about ascended masters now. So ascended masters are people that have lived the world, that have really embraced the human experience, and because of that, they've reached a period of enlightenment. The most common, I guess, one of the most common ascended masters that we could come across is Lord Sandana. And if you're looking at that from a religious perspective, that's Jesus Christ. Basically speaking, once physical incarnations of a divine spiritual being have happened, so once the ascended master has become enlightened, they become a divine spiritual being, and they teach humanity lessons and have valuable teachings to bring balance and harmony into the planet, right? So it's just really, really important to note that without good, like evil, there wouldn't be good. And so the whole idea of working with an ascended master is not to, for lack of a better term, demonize light and dark from each other, but it's about balance and creating that equality without, you know, we really need to know what darkness is to appreciate and turn to the light and learn from that. And that's really a huge lesson when it comes to enlightenment.
And in, like, I suppose, to put it in more of a daily life perspective, this would be like shadow work and light work, which we all have in us and we all should be doing. Yeah. And you don't demonize your shadow self, you accept it, right? You integrate it because it's part of your dynamic, because we all have a balance between extremes.
Exactly.
And energy in itself, literally anything energy related, the whole core sort of goal with whatever energy you're working with is balance. This is going to come up probably in every episode. We're going to be talking about balance.
Balance.
Yep.
An equilibrium, good and evil, right and wrong, left and right.
Yep.
We all
it's kind of karma too, isn't it? So it's like one
cause effect.
Yep.
Absolutely. Really, our ascended masters are here to teach us this balance, and they're here to remind us that basically the world we live on is bigger than us. Someone's issues or darkness is actually required for them to have growth, to be enlightened. And we know that from all of our spiritual experiences as well. Really, really, really important to note that Ascended Masters, when they were on the planet, they were absolute teachers, healers, wonder makers. People looked up to these guides. It's really great to know that once they have ascended, we can actually learn from them even more. So just because these Ascended Masters are no longer living here, it doesn't mean that they're not important anymore. They actually still teach us and guide us and keep us, our heads, I suppose, screwed on, if you like.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Because we really do need to understand that without evil, there would not be good. And without good, there would not be evil. We are all one and in the same existence. And we all have the same value. Mm-hmm. So when we go back to thinking of Ascended Masters, people might be thinking, that's kind of a really weird term. I need to know more about this. So Buddha, you've got Mother Mary, Saint Germain, Confucius, as well as Jesus. These are some of the really common spiritual Ascended Masters. Yeah. And I just wanted to...
There's more, but, we just picked a few examples that we thought most people would know of.
Definitely.
Or could resonate with, so...
Yeah.
Obviously, do your own research and stuff, but we're going to give as much as we can here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I kind of wanted to expand a little bit more on Lord Sandana as an Ascended Master from my spiritual experience. So when we think about Lord Sandana, his purpose was, if a lack of a better term, he came to help save the world in the period of time that he lived in. He was bringing peace and he was a true healer. On Earth, he was constantly growing from shadow aspects of himself. So he really was the type that leaned into those real dark, deep shadow aspects of who he was in himself. Some people might know that as the devil. The devil tempted Jesus. As a spiritual perspective and knowing what I know now, for me, it feels more correct to say actually that Jesus was tempted by his own darkness, and he needed to learn and heal that within himself to help heal others. And embracing both sides of himself really helped him shine and ascend into enlightenment. So he was being tempted by his shadow aspects. People were throwing things at him all the time. He was really beaten down, and because he lived his truth, he was kind of ostracized. Lord Sandana's learnings were about showing compassion in times of tribulation. So that's that real compassion for others when they're not understanding, when they're in their pain. It's about actually having compassion for them instead of resenting them. Sandana's grace, through his divine sacrifice of death, has given to us all the gift of the fifth dimensional realm of growth, reflection, purpose, and learning. So, when Lord Sandana ascended, right, and he helped, I suppose, kind of reset karma for a period of time, the fifth dimension was then created as part of a space where us as human beings could learn, grow, and reflect. And so it's no longer about cause and effect if you operate in the fifth dimension. What it is about is understanding. It's about teaching. It's about that reflective practice. It's about doing better next time. It's actually also about togetherness and oneness, and realizing that one person's individual issue makes up a whole societal problem, that we actually need to be there for everyone.
Yeah, that's a big one. I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, for
Togetherness, I like that word.
So how I see the energy of Lord Sandana is growth, reflection, purpose, and learning. All we need to do is to call on him to help us to be enlightened and to learn from old patterns and take on those learnings. Just really think about love, growth, healing, and purpose when you think of Lord Sandana. A lot of the times religious trauma can take out of context the real beautiful nature of this Ascended Master. I really want to impress upon people that his essence is love, growth, healing, and purpose. So when you're finding that you're needing some direction in those areas, just call upon him and see what happens. I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
Goddesses.
Okay, next on the hierarchy of spirit guides is goddesses. So where Ascended Masters help you with your spiritual enlightenment, goddesses help you with your physical lifetime. So the 3D material stuff that is happening in, on Earth or in the third dimension. So again, I love how here we are with the balance and the mirroring, and Zach works with Ascended Masters, I work with goddesses. So this is like really cool and working out perfectly. But goddesses, and I mean there's honestly thousands of them, but I'm just gonna use the term and I'm talking about all of them, anything that falls under that umbrella. They will often present themselves when you're dealing with a particularly difficult situation in your life. That can be from world issues, like a pandemic, or it can be a personal thing like with work or with a relationship. It could be anything. And the particular goddess that comes through for you will have their own energy, their own purpose, their own meaning, their own way of dealing with those things. My experience with a goddess, and I have done a YouTube video briefly on this before, but she visited me in a dream. It took me quite a while to, unpack like the message that was encoded in that original dream. But I now feel very, very much connected to this goddess. I actually have received lots of sort of guidance and messages that show that I was once her in a past life. So I've seen the second dimension where Hela is from as, is it third person? First person? When you're seeing it from their vision. So yes. I didn't see her walking around. It's interesting actually, Zach has done a meditation and seen Hela, but he was watching like her go about her business. I was actually her looking at the environment around me, going about the business. So yeah, that's just an example of clear signs that are saying the connection that I personally have with this goddess. And in my dream, she was wearing my earrings. So, clearly showing a reflection of me in this goddess. Anyway, that's just for funsies. But her actual purpose, and again, she's a goddess that is not very well understood in society. So she's known as the Queen of the Damned or the Queen of the Dead. She's even in some Marvel movies and where else have I seen it? There's some other like cartoons or TV shows or something where she's often shown as like evil, which is so not her energy at all. She is like a wild child. I do kind of get pagan vibes from her as well. She's quite the caretaker of discarded souls, or I guess like not banished, but
it's that second dimension elemental spirits,
isn't
it?
Yeah.
So we're getting into it, guys. We're talking fairies.
Yeah.
We're talking, real sprightly, creaturely spirits that have either ascended from lower dimensions, and yes, they could, or that they've descended from higher dimensions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like goblins, trolls, all that.
Absolutely.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Hags. Yes, they're real. Okay. It's a lot, but we're going to persist, with Hela.
Yeah. So she is very fierce. She is like a wild child, she definitely comes to you when she wants you to embrace those qualities in yourself. So if you are playing it down, if you are going with, I don't know, trends or peacekeeping or doing something like that, when your authentic self wants to, I don't know, be free or just do something that's a little bit out there, she will come in and give you that, pretty much that push off the edge and be like, no, you're going out there. She actually gets very stern. She doesn't like when we are denying ourselves that authenticity. She also doesn't like, what she really, really dislikes is self-pity. So if you are in a place of like self-pity, you're like, oh, this happened to me, nothing I can do about it now, I'm just going to feel sorry for myself until the sky just, I don't know, drops in front of me and something changes miraculously. She would be like, this is over right now. It's time to get to work. Get off your butt, basically, and here's some work to do. And so she will actually, this is what she does in the second dimension, because that's her domain where she rules over. Everybody has a job, everybody has a purpose, no one is wallowing, and it's all for service, usually, or benefits of the greater good of humanity.
So no victim mindsets, is that what you're saying?
No victim mindsets, yeah. Yeah, all right. To summarize it.
Noted.
I think that's... she would be, like, if she was a modern, I don't know, celebrity, or just someone in the well-known, she would be like an activist or something, like Frida Kahlo, or, someone like that.
Yeah.
That would be like Hela energy. She can also be quite angry. And I think this is where she gets misconstrued as someone evil, because she can, like her face will actually become scary. So when there, and it'll be because there's a reason for it, like a justifiable cause, like someone has harmed, I don't know, a vulnerable person or something, it's unfair. She will get really angry and she will go for whoever the person is that did the harm. She will like come for them and make them understand the pain, the lesson of what they did and why that is wrong. And she will make that person feel that pain like 10 times worse to make sure they learn. Like, there's no misunderstanding the lesson. You will learn it.
Hela's like in charge of the karma of the second dimension, isn't she? She's very justice focused. Definitely. And if anyone steps out of line and needs to learn from their shadow self, she will really make sure that they learn and that they will never do that, that they will never perpetrate or they'll never have the same problem again, basically. It's
like that cruel to be kind
Think of
mentality.
When I did my little bit meditation with Hela, she kind of came to me and I saw this gorgeous goddess just walking around in like a... It was
I didn't mention her appearance. She is beautiful.
Yeah.
She is half corpse-like, and again, this is where the scary stuff comes from. So like half is, normal skin, like pale, but flesh is what I'm trying to say. And then the other half is corpse-like, so it's cold, it's rotted, it's actually blue in colour. And she does have this wild frizzy hair with like twigs and leaves and all sorts from the forest sticking out of it.
So you can see how she's been misunderstood.
Yeah.
But I think if you have a personal experience with Hela, you will find out that she's actually just wanting to keep balance. Again.
Yeah.
Balance.
And in terms of like the, I don't know, stages of femininity, like maiden, mother, crone, she would be the maiden. So she is young. She does actually have elements like of purity. And where was I going with that?
Well, she's not really, and she's not one to cross in a dark alley, especially if you've got bad intentions. Okay, that's so let's keep our intentions up, people. Absolutely.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. As a maiden, she does have a particular... So the more vulnerable a person is, the more likely she will sort of connect with the people around them. So from my research and from other people that have met Hela, whether through a dream or a meditation like I have, they have often lost children, whether in a miscarriage or infant deaths, things like that. And so Hela would be the one who takes in those souls of the babies, and she will look after them, and she will send signs to the mother that says, I've got your babies, and they're going to be well cared for, because that's what she is. She's a caretaker. So that's one element where she might show up. She's not super common, so I don't expect anyone to probably relate or know what I'm talking about. But that's goddesses, that's Hela. Some other examples are Isis. Now that's like a common one. I think most people know the Egyptian mother of magic and creativity. Gaia or Sophia, the earth mother.
But yeah.
That's that.
And moving on from goddesses, where we get to the real topic of today as well, archangels. Now, I'm going to go through a few archangels that I resonate with and that I work with at a spiritual and personal level. So first of all, I'm going to just jump in there and talk about Archangel Azrael. Now, Archangel Azrael is very misunderstood. And so today's episode is really about debunking some myths here, from Lord Sandana to Hela to now Archangel Azrael. His energy and purpose is about supporting people in crisis. And when I say crisis, I mean supporting people at the time of death. Now, Archangel Azrael is known very commonly as the angel of death. Is almost always misunderstood in spirituality. And some depictions of him see him as black with some dark features, and they misinterpret Azrael to take people's lives, like the Grim Reaper. But actually, his purpose is the opposite of that. And my personal experience with Archangel Azrael can really attest to it. His energy is quite stable. He's kind and is an archangel of teaching and learning once the soul has transitioned from the physical realm, okay? So while Azrael is a comforter to those who are in their final stages of life, he also assists souls to let go when the time is right. So it's not about taking souls, it's actually making them feel happy to transition. He's all about learning from the lessons of each incarnation in order to ascend to the sixth dimension. So that's to help you to ascend to the sixth dimension, and that's where you go when you've crossed over.
So where your ancestors are, if you've connected with them.
And your spirit guides will be, absolutely. Through this energy, he will assist a soul to learn lessons brought forward in the lifetime, okay? So Archangel Azrael brings with him a sense of calm that can brighten up the heart of a grieving soul. So he's also there for the ones that have lost a loved one. He assists souls to depart and detach safely from the physical plane, and will provide protection and healing to encourage growth from lessons learned in the lifetime most recently passed for that individual. He can present himself with a really striking light colour white. It's actually more of a platinum, and it's very cool. It's quite striking. He's got large wings. He's got a creamy coloured clothing, and you can really feel that he's present when you feel that grief just lift from your heart centre, and you know that he's here with you. So Archangel Azrael is all about healing. He's all about helping someone transition and allowing them to be safe and protected. One of the other archangels that I wanted to discuss today was Archangel Metatron. His energy and purpose in religious teachings kind of speaks of him as someone that actually lived in the physical plane. So he's the only, Metatron's the only archangel that I'm aware of that I would have thought it was an ascended master. So religious teachings kind of explain Metatron as Enoch in the physical world. And really what happened was when Enoch was on earth, and once he descended and reincarnated into the angelic realm, he became the Archangel of Ascension. So this is any skill or natural spiritual gift to help increase your psychic or spiritual capabilities. That's what Metatron's purpose is for. Living people, so that's us. We can also access his support by calling on him. Now, this can be through the Akashic records, through the Lords of Karma as well, because he's the one that has been entrusted with writing the deeds of people. So if you've heard of the Book of Life, if anyone's got a religious background, the religious transcript of that is Akashic records. And so we can learn karmic relationships, we can clear lessons, we can clear karma through that as well. When we think about how we characterize Metatron, he was kind of the symbols that he kind of comes across as is the Merkaba, right? It's a sacred geometry symbol that is all about protection and extension. This cube serves many functions, so search it up. It's really, really great. It's got the ability to cleanse any unwanted negative energy from your auric field and assist you on your ascension path. You can use the Merkaba to focus your intention and energy for the purposes of healing yourself and others. It also serves as a personal portal of energetic light to other dimensions in the universe when used in a meditation. So, when I'm going back to what Metatron looks like, think of purple, wearing a purple robe, lavender, a bit of gold on his feathers. So just purple, lavender, gold hues. That's that Metatron energy. He's just really gorgeous to work with, really transformational, and he's a really powerful healer as well. Finally, for me, the last archangel I wanted to speak about was Archangel Gabriel. This is a kind of a common archangel that everyone might be really familiar with. Archangel Gabriel is one of the spiritual leaders known to help communicate and emote clearly. So Archangel Gabriel is basically the archangel for communication and creativity. They serve a purpose of awakening the masses, basically. So Archangel Gabriel is characterized by the huge trumpet, and in a lot of cards in tarot and oracle, you can actually see the collective rising up almost, so from the dead.
Zach's referring to the judgment card for anyone who reads tarot.
Yes.
It is actually a traditional image of Archangel Gabriel, and it is for the purpose of enlightenment and waking up that spiritual connection. It's called like the inner calling card. So if you are disconnected from your intuition, like Archangel Gabriel is going to be the one blowing a trumpet in your ear, being like, I'm here, listen to me.
Yes. And it's really good because that really helps that clear communication. So as a champion of healthy communication, Gabriel provides you with healthy, effective and compassionate ways to speak your truthfulness and also to establish your boundaries, but doing that in a compassionate and authentic way with integrity. So it's about acknowledging the truth, and it's about awakening, and it is a little bit about judgment. But on the flip side, it's actually all about having that compassion, communicating with your integrity, not losing yourself in a difficult situation. Characterized by a white, gold, bright yellow light. Of course, we've mentioned the symbol of the trumpet. Mm-hmm. Highly effective communicator to help awaken the collective. They definitely make an entrance, as we've just explained. Also, effective in creative endeavors. So basically what this means is a lot of artists, a lot of painters, a a lot of people who are creatively expressive will have Archangel Gabriel work through them in that beautiful divine feminine energy that she comes to me with. You know, that bright light wings, trumpet, ready to awaken others to the truth. What more could you want in such a beautiful archangel?
Yeah, so true. And I might just, since you made me think of it, and we probably should have mentioned before, archangels appear in very different ways to different people. So someone might say Archangel Gabriel is female, someone might say they're male, someone might say they look, whereas someone else might see them completely differently. So however your archangels come through to you, if you have had that experience, you know, that's valid. But when we are saying feminine energy or masculine energy, we're not claiming to label the archangels with a gender. We're just talking about the energy because that's what we're connecting to. I don't really think that they identify with a gender,
No.
but you know, it helps sometimes for us to visualize them as that person for us, and that's fine. So I've got a couple of archangels that I work with and resonate with, and Zach's picked his. There are many more. we can't be here talking about all of them because we'll be here all night. So we just wanted to highlight, I guess, our favorites and how they've shown up to us, what our experiences have been. If you did want to connect with any of these archangels, or if something sounds familiar and you're thinking, oh, maybe that archangel is trying to communicate with me because I experienced the same things Zach or Tahlia did, we're just hoping to sort of share the information and put the connection out there, and you guys can do whatever you want with it.
Exactly. It's like that, creating that awareness of sharing our experiences, because I think we need to, a lot of the times in spiritual work, we're all quite isolated, aren't we? And our experiences are very individual, and we're not too sure if we're feeling something that's right, or we're not too sure if this is what someone else has experienced. So hopefully by us sharing our experience with our spirit guides, ancestors, archangels, you guys can resonate with some of it. And if it changes your perspective on some traditional or religious aspects of ascended masters,
or expands on them.
Yeah, or expands on them. I think we've done our job well.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah. We should always be looking at how we can expand our minds to everything. But archangels is particularly one that, in those contexts, can be more restrictive. So we're just opening it up, and you guys can go further with it or not. It's, you know, when we're all ready and when we're willing, these things will happen as they're meant to. So one of my sort of main archangels that I work with quite a bit in my line of work, in my readings, and I have also worked with this archangel personally, is Archangel Michael. Now, he is one that is probably one of the most well-known archangels, widely recognized, and also very heavily linked to religious contexts as well. So my account of this archangel is going to be from personal experience and from spiritual perspective rather than religious. I actually don't even know how the religious texts describe Archangel Michael, so if someone can tell me if this is different, the same, I actually don't even know, but I'm going to share my perspective. So Michael is the Archangel of Courage, and he is he's quite a protector. I should describe his appearance because that's going to make this make a lot more sense as I go. So he has a huge shield and a massive sword, and he is quite I'd say he's like a large figure, fully armoured. So if you think like Game of Thrones or even like Spartan, like when they're just these massive figures, that's Archangel Michael. And part of his purpose is protection. So that can be from actual harm or people that are attacking you in your life, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever form that comes in spiritually. So he has his shield that kind of represents that aspect of his purpose, and then his sword represents his power. He is an extremely powerful archangel, and his purpose is also removing anything that is a distraction, a block, a tie to something that we don't need in our lives anymore, anything that keeps you out of alignment or out of balance from your path. His job is to release all of that, but he will not act on any of that stuff unless you invite him in, and sort of give him permission to act on your behalf in removing these things. Yeah. So if you're in, and I'm not talking about like, I'm trying to think of like a real trivial example. I don't know, you go to...
Trying to find your car keys or something like
yeah.
that?
Trying to find your car keys, or like someone's had a bad day at work and called you like a bad name once or something, and you came home and you're like, I want to call on Archangel Michael to get this person out of my workplace. That's not what we mean by protection or with power of disconnecting. I'm talking about true crisis. Usually this will be something that has affected you for years, or your family for years. You would have likely tried everything under the sun that you could possibly think of to try and tackle this situation, but nothing seems to work. So these are the kinds of points where eventually you just get so, I suppose, so broken down that you have no choice but to surrender to a higher power, and Archangel Michael will show himself in some way. Or if you're someone who regularly connects to readers, they might actually say to you, this is who's coming through, and they want you to do this. And so that can help speed up, the quicker you get out of crisis, the better. So that kind of awareness is really good. So he will come in and you say, I'm ready to accept the changes. I'm ready for my life to change. And Archangel Michael will do his thing, and you will honestly see immediate almost results. Within 12 to 24 hours, your entire life will change. This is like the big guns. It's heavy duty stuff. It's not, so you'll certainly know about it if Archangel Michael is trying to contact you, and if he's done work for you. What else? He is represented by blue light. So you might see a blue orb or blue energy. He also communicates in synchronicity. He uses feathers, and of course I mentioned the shield and the sword. So those are things that might, if you're seeing those often. Sometimes his sword is also engulfed in flames. That's not very common, but for some people you might get that image, and that is classic for Archangel Michael as well. And he also has a really calm presence. So the reason he's called the Archangel of Courage is because to remove these things from your life and to get back on alignment, it is going to take some serious bravery and courage. So you look at your alternative options and they will look extremely scary because they'll likely be completely unknown. So the whole point of his sort of energy and his purpose is to get you to find your own strength to take that brave step, and the second that you do, you are just welcomed with this calm presence, this relief, because all the heaviness from your crisis will be gone, and so that's like, you can't get more confirmation than that, that you've done the right,
exactly.
You're back in alignment on your path. Okay, so that's Archangel Michael. Archangel Raphael is the next one I'm going to talk about, and I actually find some similarities between these two, because Archangel Raphael sometimes is shown in armor too, and he also has a similar purpose of realigning everyone to their path, but he does it differently in the sense of creating an optimal balance in your health and well-being. So here's the Archangel of Healing, and that can be anything health and wellness related. So if it's an injury, ill health, a vitamin deficiency, whatever it is you need assistance with, that's the archangel you'll work with. This archangel shows up in a green energy, and green is related to the heart chakra. So, I mean, we do so much healing in the heart chakra. That's clear. Oh, and also for healers. So anyone who is an actual healer, whether it's doctors, Reiki practitioners, spiritual healers, if you are in service to humanity, Archangel Raphael will be, watching over you. So in the way that he assists with healers is he helps them with their decision making. So our analytical minds and our conscious minds are very good at throwing all sorts of information and stuff from external sources that make us doubt ourselves, make us maybe just have too many things and we can't quite find clarity, I suppose. So Archangel Raphael will help you to just get a clearer focus, clearer vision on your clients or your patients, that is going to help them the most. His symbol is, and I hope I'm saying this word right, I probably should have looked up how it's pronounced, but Caduceus. It's the symbol of, it's so well known, you'll know it, I just don't know if I'm saying it right. I'll spell it. It's CADUCEUS, and it's the staff that has usually angel wings and the two snakes entwined around it in perfect synchronicity.
And that's the symbol that we tend to know of the medical background. A lot of the times on like Grey's Anatomy or something, they might have
it's
that
on like
symbol on their jacket. Hospital
uniforms, even hospital logos, like actual medical clinics. It's everywhere. So you can see the connection to an archangel of healing. And so Archangel Raphael can assist in any area of health. So whether that's physical, emotional, spiritual, energetic. And this ties in with my workshop. I do this holistic health and intuitive workshop where I highlight the 12 aspects of health and well-being. It's something that I learnt in my elective when I was studying my nursing and sort of carried through my whole career. They don't actually teach this topic anymore, which is quite a shame because I have taught this workshop to other nurses and they've come up to me afterwards and been like, oh my God, we just had no idea of this concept. So even the definition of holistic care is very misunderstood. So I teach this workshop where I'm really highlighting that fact. So, we hear about the big three, body, mind, and spirit, but there's so many more. There's your relationships, financial, your socioeconomic status. All of these things can affect your health. Childhood is a massive one. I can't even think of the others off the top of my head, but there's a lot. So whatever area it is, if it needs healing, this is the archangel you want to call on. And lastly, Archangel of Intuition, which is Haniel. And again, for anyone who reads tarot, if you know the High Priestess card, this Archangel is the epitome of that card. She is the High Priestess. She comes through with a very graceful, soothing, feminine energy. She uses a turquoise or a light blue colour mixed with purple, which is very High Priestess as well, because purple represents spiritual connection, and also silver, because she's very connected to the moon, as is the High Priestess. So, and it is a full moon tonight,
It is, while we're recording.
Yeah, while we're recording.
We're going to go into our
our full moon
release
party
ceremony after this.
Yes, so excited for that. So yes, Haniel is there to help people connect to their inner guidance. So in other words, your intuition, or your psychic abilities. And she, which are there specifically to help you explore your life path or get aligned with your life path. And she really encourages the sort of trust and inner knowing and building that connection with your intuition rather than relying on external sources. She's also particularly helps anyone who is a psychic or uses their gift for spiritual practitioners. So she will help you basically just develop your gift if you want to go further with it.
Haniel seems so healing to me, you know?
She is, she's healing in the sense of like comfort to your doubts and
definitely.
Yeah,
I can feel her almost like she's coming in now as you're speaking.
she probably is because with the full with the cycles. So she'll assist you with release, realignment, and remembering. So like a full moon is all about release. A new moon would be realignment because you're bringing something in. And then remembering, so your waxing and waning moons, which is your check-in periods in between the two big ones where you want to be making sure you're on the right track. So you might especially want to contact this archangel if you, or she may especially be trying to contact you if you have any fear connected to your psychic abilities. So if you get visions, if you get dreams, if you just know things and then they come true, and you're really blocking it or rejecting it, or it scares you, she's going to be probably pretty close to you, trying to get you to just dispel that kind of fear and accept that gift as a strength, because that's what it is, and feed it sort of love instead. And there's just such a peace in that. I think that's where you're getting the healing feeling
definitely.
from.
And I could definitely feel Haniel work with me only just a few years back when I was coming to terms with my own psychic awakening, you know. I definitely called on the support of archangels, and I didn't know, but now I know it would have been Haniel there.
Yeah.
Really converting my fear into curiosity, which was the essential switch I needed personally to actually accept that I was a medium, and I had been since I was a child, really.
Yeah, so it's like empowerment.
Yeah.
To sort of summarise.
For sure, absolutely.
All right. Well, that was a lot of content.
If we have a really long episode this time, guys, it is because, look, we really wanted to talk about guides, spirit guides, and we wanted to talk about archangels, ancestors, goddesses, ascended masters. We really wanted to cover this in a really comprehensive podcast episode because we know how misunderstood spirituality is and archangels can be, and we wanted to kind of give everyone an entry point, if you like. If this is the first time you've opened your mind up to spirituality, hopefully you've been able to understand a very broad grasp on the tools and the people and the supports that are here to help enlighten you along the way.
Yeah, it was definitely a big topic, and this is why we have the notes, and why we took a lot longer to prepare for this episode.
We did.
But it was important, and we had to at least list a few archangels so that you could kind of pick up the pattern of how they work, because they are similar in they all will come through in a type of energy, have their own purpose, have their own colours, symbols, ways of contacting you. So, you know, you certainly should get the gist of that at the end of this episode.
But if in doubt, just call on the help of archangels. Guys, really, if you're lost and if you're not sure on what step you need to take next, just call down archangels to help you. And they'll make themselves known to you. If you guys have anything you'd like to share about your own experiences, if you're watching us on YouTube, pop a note in the comments and we would love to respond and get to know what your experience has been with one of the archangels we've mentioned today, or one that we haven't.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear about that. And when Zach's saying call on the archangels, we don't mean all day, every day, because you can't find your keys, or
no,
you can't find your glasses.
You'll know when you need their help. Yeah,
we're talking about the big stuff because the archangels are busy.
Yeah,
and they, you know, we have to be very grateful for when they do come through to us and when they do help us, because it is kind of special. This is why we particularly went through the hierarchy. So you want to try elemental, spirit animal, ancestors. They're your everyday guides that you can talk to as much as you want. The archangels are just specific times.
Point in time supports in crisis only.
Yep.
aren't
So
they?
like serious kind of big stuff.
Yeah. They're not the types of supports. Archangels aren't the types of angels that you can just keep in your back pocket, for sure. No, I think you'll definitely understand when you do come to a bit of a turning point, crossroads, and you have tried everything, you've exhausted every human element, then you'll know
Exactly.
you need to turn to a higher power. And that's when you call down an archangel.
Yep.
Beautiful. Well, we'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please sign up to our Inspired Guidance Podcast Facebook group. Just search that in the search bar in Facebook, and we'd love to collaborate with you guys, have a chat, see what your thoughts are. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See ya.
Bye.